If Jesus can transform the power abuser, violent man named Saul, he can do it for you too. And if you look at the book of Acts and you read the book of Acts, you'll find that this man, Saul, is full of violence and he is full of rage. His life is filled with anger. You go to one part in Acts and we're told that Saul is going to homes and he's ripping parents away from their children and is throwing them in prison because he hates people who follow Jesus. We're told that Saul stood there and he applauded as they brutally murdered a man named Stephen. Saul was a violent man, an angry man, a man full of rage. And then one day, this violent, angry man who was speaking murderous threats, this power abuser had an encounter with the living God. And his life was changed forever. He was literally en route to go take some more people and imprison them and abuse power and threaten people when Jesus met him. And Jesus met him on the road to Damascus, and he got a picture of Jesus that changed his reality forever. He was never the same again. And the reason why we know him as Paul is because he has become such a new person that he cannot go by the same name he once had. He changes so much when he thinks about power that he writes these words to tell us what power really is. In a book later on in Philippians, this power abuser, violent man says this about how we should use our power. He says, in Philippians 2, this is a paraphrase, your attitude should be the same as Jesus Christ, who had all of God's power, all the authority in the world, and did not use it. Rather, he made himself nothing, became like a slave, and lived his life to serve people so they might flourish. This, Paul is saying, that is who I want to be, and that is who we should be. And you walk away after reading Acts, and you think to yourself, this can't even be the same person. That's what Jesus does. Jesus takes us in our realities, who we are, and his power can transform our lives. You know, and I would even say this, you might be like Saul. Inside you are a volcano. Inside you are a violent person. You may be like Saul, and these hands have brought hurt and pain. Maybe even on those you would say you love. Your words have been used to destroy others. And I would say to you today, if that is you, if Jesus can transform the power abuser, violent man named Saul, he can do it for you too. That is the beauty of the gospel. That is the reason why we're all here week after week, because we come with our realities that things are not as they should be in our lives, but we believe and trust in Jesus Christ that his saving, transforming power will make us different. And you will see that Paul ends up penning words later in Corinthians where he says this, he says, anyone who is in Christ is a new creation. The old has gone and the new has come. It's the beauty of the gospel. And if that described you today, that you actually identify a little bit with Saul, you know all it would take to start? is to take a moment and say, Jesus, would you forgive me for how these hands have abused power? Jesus, would you forgive me for how this mouth has hurt others? And would you help me to make things right with those I've hurt? And would you show me how to live? That's how it started with all who are followers of Jesus. And I believe that he would answer that prayer and begin the work of transformation in your life.